Hey, Shalom, Akim, Shalom. First thing and foremost, I'm going to give all praises, glory, and honor that's due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. I'd like to give double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone and rule well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. Noise in the gospel, broad, lifting up the standard of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is the Akia Mahalaya coming back with another lesson through the Spirit. Going into the time of famine, when things grim and things look not certain, or when things begin to falter as far as the world economic systems, which we're currently in a recession. Banks are failing. They're getting ready to launch a pilot program of the Fed now, which is basically the digital currency, and the CBDCs, which will basically bring about the microchip. When the famine commences and when the food shortages and the elites starts to bullhorn their way through these neighborhoods and through this society, and putting people in prisons and so forth like that, and rendering people unable to live and sustain their lives, the Most High will intervene and take care of us. This is when we're going to see the intervention, the direct intervention of Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai, and this is when those miracles are going to commence, when we need them the most. Because, I mean, think about it. The Lord, he does intervene supernaturally in our lives day by day. But, I mean, think about it. You still have a society intact. You still have health stores. You still have hospitals, which hospitals is the last resort. But you still have health stores, herbs, and so forth like that you can kind of heal yourself, and you can get food. You go to the store and get clothes. So it makes sense that the Lord, he's sustaining us through this economy. But when things begin to fail in famine, the scripture said, famine, thou shalt laugh. So when famine commences, we're going to be straight, man. Okay, you ain't going to go weeks or months without eating. The Lord is going to find a way to feed you. Okay, because think about it. I mean, right now they're talking about food shortages. They're talking about beer, wine, or champagne. Things like that are not going to be ready, accessible, because of the scarcity of these things and a high demand for these particular products. Like, we're coming into the spring season and it gets warm, so you're going to have a lot of bread and mirth. Okay, you're going to have baseball season starting up, so the demand for beer, the demand for strong drink is going to go up. And what these global supply chains, by them being in a faltered state, is going to be more demand on these products, and they're going to cause the prices of these products to become inflated even more because of the destabilization of the dollar, you know. But in famine, when things break down and it's not looking too good for us, hey, how about you? How Shai will intervene, and you got to have faith in that. And I believe that, and I believe that's when the healing is gonna come in its entirety, because you got brothers out here, man, that's catching hell in the body. You know, demons afflicting the bodies, spirits hopping on brothers, messing with their minds, breaking down their bodies, their livelihoods, to the point it seems almost hopeless at times. But, you know, keeping faith and seeing that light at the end of the tunnel is ultimately what we have to remember. Because look at the account when the ravens fed Elijah, and when the Most High told him to drink of the brook for 3 years. Okay, what about the time when Elijah raised the widow woman, when he raised her son from the dead? And basically when he told her to make like this particular pot, it's like this dish, this bread, like, basically she was like, well, it's not going to be enough. And he said, look, go up there and make it, and the Lord is going to sustain it. Okay, same thing when the prophets of the Most High was hidden into the caves of 50. Okay, because Jezebel put a hit out on us in the ancient world, basically slewing the men of the Lord. Hey, Elijah, he fed the men of the Lord, man. So you have to remember those accounts that Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai did directly intervene in human affairs, and it's coming to that time again, because, like I said, they're getting ready to drop this dollar. Okay, they're talking about sometime in July, they're going to do this Fed now, which is that digital currency, and they're launching the pilot program starting in April. And that's going to cause a lot of trouble, a lot of uproars, a lot of chaos, a lot of looting, a lot of robbery in America, because these Edomites, they're not going for that digital-based currency shit. They're not going to go for it because they believe in their constitutional values, and they feel like, well, once the CBDCs, which will lead to the CHIP, is rolled out, they feel like that's the ultimate enslavement or the ultimate system of oppression. And that is absolutely the truth. So it says these foods will be in short supply in 2023. So stock up now and find alternatives. See, and this is the thing. See, they panic buying, okay, because the common person in America, they don't have faith. They don't have hope. Now, we're not saying, we ain't saying be stupid and don't give yourself a little extra. because I mean it's a thing of using wisdom. You can go grab a couple more cans of soup and crackers and noodles or ramen or whatever that could sustain you, cereals, non-perishable products, oatmeal, peanut butter, crackers, things like that. That could take you a long way because peanut butter is basically protein. You got your crackers and stuff like that, man. You got your oatmeals, whole oats, whole grains. Those things fulfill you up. Like 3 big bowls of oatmeal, that shit can last you throughout the day. Because we're going to come into a time that we're not going to have access to these products because they're going to lock everything back down because of the chaos. So it says it was a bad year for food shortages in 2022, for categories including eggs and baby formulas hit hard. Unfortunately, 2023 could see its own batch of food shortages. But here's what consumers should start stocking up on now before prices soar and products likely become harder to find on store shelves. And they said corn. Historically, Ukraine has been one of the world's leading providers of corn. But that's all changed since Russia's invasion, which has no end in sight. It says, as such, we'll see we will be seeing less corn. This is a pretty major issue since corn is an ingredient in so many other American products, including chips, salad dressings, and even soda. Which corn is not the best for diet. It's not really, you don't really digest it. Like, I don't know if you brothers have ever ate like any corn or, because everything is like corn based or cornstarch based. Corn in every goddamn thing, which the corn in the ancient world was more of a grain type. But now you got these whole kernels, which is genetically modified. You don't necessarily digest these things fully because if you ever ate a lot of corn and you took a bowel movement and if you, weary of your stools, you look in the toilet and see that you're basically crapping out corn, whole corn, because your body doesn't process it, doesn't digest it fully. Okay, so you got to be careful with that. But a couple of cans of corn, it won't hurt, because like I said, we in America, the scriptures say that we were going to eat our bread defiled among the Gentiles. So you got to expect that. It says a bread, flour, and wheat shortage are likely on the horizon because of the ongoing war in Ukraine. It says Russia and Ukraine account close for 20% of the world's cereal grain products, man. Okay. Vegetable oil, which is really not good for you. Okay. And it's not the fact that it's bad, but when you are cooking vegetable oil by it being overly processed, the heat and the burning of the vegetable oil, it does away with the rest of the nutrients that Esau already took out of vegetable oil. Vegetable oil wouldn't be so bad if he didn't overly process the shit. But that's what he does. He overly processes shit and he takes out the natural ingredients to the food that can be essential to your health, man. Okay, like we went into it in camp. It said, ain't no way in hell that you live in a country this goddamn big and you getting food shipped in through trucks, man. You literally should have a farmer's market on every corner in Babylon, man. Fresh food grown locally. Okay, but you getting these truckers and they getting shipped in from different places and countries and it's being processed and plants and so forth like that. It's all just wickedness, and that's why everybody is all sick. You see, and then what happens when the food supply stop? What happens when the truckers go on strike and they say to hell with this? Because the brother was also bringing out that at his job, over 200 people, they just stopped. They just said, fuck it, we quit. So when these truckers are laid off because they can't afford to fill these trucks up, like last year we seen that, diesel then went up to like $5, man. But last year we saw the account of that and you had food shortages, man. Okay, so it's going to get to the point that America is going to collapse completely and the Most High is going to bring about the collapse through the elites using this CBDC measures in this war in Ukraine, which they're blaming for everything that's happening in the world, which is really America, man. But it says soybean oil and palm oil, canola oil, sunflower oil are expected to be in short supply over the next several months. It says this is due to the factors, including Indonesia's decision to halt the export of palm oil and continuing droughts around the globe. Ongoing baby formula shortage is expected to last through the spring of 2023, according to a recent report of Roderick Buxner, the maker of baby formula, Giant Enfamil routers reported. But if you women had 2 brain cells to rub together, you would literally put the baby on a titty. That's the whole point. You women are so goddamn vain and so goddamn airheaded about your looks to the point you would negate your child food and nutrition all because you want to keep your titties plump, man. Well, they got certain bras for that. But I knew women just hearing about him in general. Oh well, I don't want to breastfeed my child because I want to keep my shape. That's selfish, man. That's like that's the nature of an ostrich. She goes back and she steps on her eggs and she kills the baby. Just fucking vanity, man. The hell you think the Most High give you titties for? It ain't for you to wear them out and show everybody. It's for you to pleasure your man first and foremost. Okay, you receive pleasure by that, and it's to feed the child, the baby. That's why you produce milk, and if you don't produce enough milk, it's because of your diet and it's because of the chemicals in the food. You know, but it says the shortage is persisting mainly because of the issues that led to the initial shortage last year, including the piles of recalls and labor shortages to lead such a monumental stock supply. Champagne. Hopefully you got your fill for champagne on the New Year's Eve because 2023 is looking a bit dry on the bubbly. It said there's been a huge surge in consumer demand for champagne. It says between 2020 and 2021, U.S. sales leapt by nearly 64%, according to the Comité de Champagne, and the demand persisted through 2022. This puts stress on champagne producers who are now struggling to keep up the supply. Okay, so hey, I might have to stock up on a couple of bottles of bubbly, man. Get the champagne. My brothers are big on the champagne, man. Canned pet food. And that's another thing, too. People ain't going to be able to take care of their pets anymore, so they just going to let them run loose. And what happens when you have a hungry dog running the streets, man, they become more cannibalistic. Like, they can't eat or they can't find food. They will start eating people. Okay, it was a movie that came out years ago. I think it was called, like, Dogs or something like that. The motherfuckers is going around eating people, okay, because they going back into their primitive nature. Okay, so all these domesticated animals, they're going to go back to that natural state. You're going to have cats, man, trying to eat people, But this is just all an example that we don't have anything to worry about, brothers, man, because Yahweh Shai is going to take care of us. And the example is right here in the scriptures, 1 Kings 17:1. It says, Elijah the Tishbite, who was of the inhabitants of Gilead, said unto Ahab, as the Lord Yahweh of Israel liveth, therefore where I stand, there should not be, it says, there should not be dew nor rain these years, but according to my word, because the Most High brought upon a famine. Okay, and you got to understand too, when the Most High brought the famine upon Samaria, that was a huge form of cannibalism. Women were taking turns soldering their kids and eating them. Same thing that happened during the time of Masada, 70 A.D., during the Flavian dynasty when Titus and Vespasian invaded Jerusalem in 67 A.D. It was cannibalism, okay? Israelites were literally eating the leather off their sandals, the garments. They were eating their children because what happened was Vespasian and the surrounding armies, they pretty much encapsulated and entrenched Jerusalem and they circumvented it. So therefore, no supplies or anything could come throughout the cities of Judea. Okay, and what happened was those Israelites, they were starved out. So when the food supply ran out, or if they wasn't killed off by the Roman soldiers, what happened was that shit, man, they ate each other. They resorted to cannibalism, and cannibalism is coming back in a big way, because there was like a YouTube poll. Sometime they give you these polls and so forth if you scroll through the channels. And what happened was they was like, in a time of a famine, or if push comes to shove, we need a percentage of people who think cannibalism is okay. And when I clicked on the link, it was 64% of the people that stated that eating another human being would be likely in the time we coming in. So people are already in that mindset of eating people. All right. So don't think that shit is far-fetched. It says, but according to the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, get thee hence and turn thee eastward and hide thyself by the brook of Cherith, that is before Jordan. And it shall be that thou should drink of the brook, and I have commanded the ravens to feed thee there. Okay, so there you go. He was Lord, because the Lord brought a famine on the land. And famines were known in the ancient world, from Egypt to Samaria to Jerusalem. Okay, famines. It was even a great dearth during the time of Paul, man. I think you could read about it in the book of Acts, what is that? I think it's like Acts, maybe like the 12th chapter. Salakia, I can't remember, but during the time of the apostleship or the disciples, you had a famine then. It was called a great dearth. But it says, I will command the ravens to feed thee there. So we're going to see all types of miracles through Yahweh Shai, man. Literally, you may have pet squirrels or squirrels that come out of the bushes and the trees and bring you nuts and grains and so forth, because we know squirrels, their primary diet is eating nuts and seeds from acorns and so forth like that. The acorns, the grains and so forth. Hey, you're gonna have ravens, you may have a fucking bird, or you may have a dog that actually come and bring you a piece of lamb. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta expect miracles like that. You go out in the wilderness, shit. The scriptures say that the beasts of the field should be in league with us. So hey, you may have a bear that come out of nowhere and bring you a fucking dinner, bring you a steak, bring you a deer, or who knows, man, venison. Okay, and on top of that, even within these houses and so forth, like martial law, yeah, they're gonna go through and ravage these cities, but overall, you're gonna still have a supply of shit left from what the people can't get and from what people die behind. You're gonna have food left, man. Okay, you're gonna be able to find things. I mean, you're gonna have shit on shelves and stores in certain places. Most places are gonna be empty and raided because of the riots and the famine and the siege and people going around searching things. It's gonna be pretty desolate, but if you're the elect, you're going to stumble across some things that's going to sustain you until the Lord comes. And a good example of that is the movie called The Road, when him and his son stumbled across the bunker and they was able to get fed, man. So you got to have that in your mindset. It's nothing too big for the Most High to not to accomplish. Okay, the Lord can do all things. So it's nothing for him to give us food, to command ravens to give us food from heaven. Rain down manna. Lord may rain down manna again. Who knows? So you got to believe that, man. Just like when the time of great plagues hit Egypt, hey, that was light in Goshen, okay? That was light in our dwelling places, but the whole province of Egypt was pretty much under plagues in pure darkness. But we had light in our dwelling places. What make you think the Lord ain't going to do it again in a time of need, especially when we need him the most? You think he's going to just leave us out to rot in the worst time of human history? No. This is the time that our power is getting ready to show his power through his men. That's why Jacob's trouble, we look forward to it, because it's like, okay, when that comes, then the Most High is going to really directly intervene in our lives, man. Okay, ain't no coincidence that it's fucking, they found out of the whole world of UFO sightings, the majority of the UFO or the chariot sightings are right here in America. Why do you think that's so? You don't think your brothers, you don't think your angels, your guardian angels are among those numbers that's looking over you, that's going to protect you? Trust me, man, it's coming. Brothers, we going to be taken care of, man. We going to actually see and see the works of the Lord. And that's when a lot of your faith that you're wavering, a lot of our faith is going to be increased in Jacob's trouble, because the Lord is going to show he's with us. That's why it's going to be a beautiful time, man. All right. And it says here, so he went and did according to the word of the Lord. For he went and dwelt by the brook in Cherith, that is before Jordan. And the ravens brought him bread and flesh in the morning, and bread and flesh in the evening, and he drank of the brook. Okay. And it says, and it came to pass after a while that the brook dried up, because there had been no rain in the land. And the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, arise and get thee to Zaphereth, which belongeth to Zidon, and dwell there. And behold, I have commanded the widow woman there to sustain thee. So you see, so the Lord was dealing with her. He was talking to him. He sent the angel when he told him, like, look, man, go here, go there. And we going to have that, man. We going to have angels that's going to come up and say, well, look, man, go to this part of Kansas City, go to Westport, or go down to the Plaza area. There's a room in this particular hotel, and there you'll find a refrigerator full of cold water and food, and you have heat there to sustain yourselves in the winter. Go and tarry there for 4 months and wait for wait for me to come get you. You're going to have messages like that, man. Like, literally, we're going to have a guideline, because honestly speaking, shit, brothers don't know how they going to make it out here, man. We ain't big wilderness people. Yeah, we know the basic necessities of surviving in the wilderness, but shit, man, what if we don't make it out there? That's only getting you so far, especially, if you ain't dealing with the Spirit of the Lord. And the Spirit of the Lord might not want us to go into the wilderness, because most brothers, they live in the city, Now, if you could make it out there, then, hey, cool beans. Do what you got to do. Lord, he'll sustain you out there, away from all the chaos. But ultimately, we're going to see most of us going to be trapped in these fucking cities, man. Like on The Last of Us. They was in the cities. They was navigating city to city. Because what happens is, when the martial law commences, they're going to block off all the interstates. And those back roads, you got to get there before they block off the interstates. Knowing the back roads and the dips and the cuts. But even then, you got to worry about them damn hillbillies. Them Edomites out there. Because them Edomites, they going to be thirst for blood. So, you just got to depend on Yahweh Shem Yahushai. And it says, and he arose and went to Zaphareth. And he came to the gate of the city. And behold, the widow woman was there gathering sticks. And he called to her and said, fetch me, I pray thee, a little water in a vessel that I may drink. And as she was going to fetch it, he called to her and saying, bring me, I pray thee, the morsel of bread in thy hand. And she said, as Yahweh thy power liveth, I have not a cake, but a handful of meal and barrel, and a little oil in a cruse. And behold, I am gathering 2 sticks, that I may go in and dress it for me and my son, that we may eat it and die. So she didn't have any faith, really. Okay, she was like, look, this is going to be our last meal. After that, we may starve to death, and we're going to give up the spirit. Typical woman. That's why it proves that you women need the men of the Lord in your lives, because without us, man, how the hell are you going to have any insight? Because when this society collapses, you women are going to be affected the most, you and your children. You're going to be affected the most, because you ain't going to be out here shooting shit and chasing off packs of ravenous, angry mad men that's fresh out of jail, fucking ride on 10, ready to put something in you. You ain't going to fight them men off, man. Fuck all that Wonder Woman, all that independent, proud black woman, proud Mary shit. That shit ain't, you women ain't gonna be that, man. Okay, you're gonna result back to what you were created to do, to serve a man, whether you like it or not. Okay, and if you don't like it, then you are gonna be destroyed. But this proves right here, she was like, look, we gonna eat it and we gonna die, because she didn't have faith. I mean, shit, the Lord wasn't dealing with her on that level. That's why he sent it to her, Elijah. It says, and Elijah said it to her, fear not. Go. Of course, the men have to be the confidence, man. We have to be the backbone. We have to be the strength of the family. Because if you weak and you have no vision, then how the hell your family gonna look up to you for survival when you acted out and you afraid? You know. I remember we was coming back. Me and one woman, we was coming back. It was some years ago. We was coming back. I think it was from like, fuck. It wasn't like Ozarks. It was one of them places we usually go to. And the fucking GPS got messed up and we got lost, man. And I looked at her, I'm like, you ain't gonna talk that shit now. And she was quiet as hell. Cause you know, a woman, man, they be talking shit, they give you shit, man, you know, cause they in a comfort zone. They get to, you know, they get to go, you know, they get to just talk the shit cause they know they got like, look, man, we comfort, man, we good. We gonna talk our shit. So I looked at her. She looked at me, she's like, I ain't saying shit. I'm like, I know you ain't gonna say shit because you depending on me to get us out this fucking jam. So we was like in the back of the rural area. And of course, you know, me being a man, I had to remember, put the thinking cap on. I'm like, okay, we came this way, we came that way. And then I got us back on the interstate. But she was quiet as hell for like fucking 45 minutes, man, because shit, she was like, damn, I can't say shit. Because he could pull this car over and throw my ass out, then I'm really fucked. You know, but it's the point that men have to be the strength, you know. Another thing too, sense of direction. Usually if I go a place, I remember the way, kind of like, you show me once or twice, then I would pretty much remember the way. Because before we had GPSs, and I know this is a bit off topic, but before you had GPSs, you know, you had to understand maps. And I can read a map pretty well because, you know, what I used to do when I used to work for my other job, I used to have to look at maps and shit like that. And the key to reading maps, like I got a whole map of the state of Missouri right now in my bag, you know. And it's good for brothers to read maps, man, because in the time we coming in, we ain't gonna have no fucking GPS, bro. Okay, I mean, you may have a little bit cell phone signal for the emergency receptors, but overall, you're not gonna have any signals to these phones because they're gonna shut everything down. So getting the concept of learning landmarks. Okay, learn your north from your south, your east from your west. Learn the way that the sun navigates, and you know that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. Okay, you know that. So have that in the mindset of learning your sense of directions. Okay, because like I know if I'm going north because I can see a particular landmark. I'm like, okay, that's north, that's east, that's south, that's west. And if you're going north, you always know when you're going north, east is always right of north. Okay, you're going south. West is always right of south. Just a little thing that I remember, you know, coming from like a bigger city, going on different sides of the city, you kind of remember little bullet points here and there. But get familiarize yourselves with your cities and knowing how to navigate and knowing what's what. Okay, the Lord didn't give you a fucking brain to just let it die. Use it, you know. But anyway, lost my place. Yep, she said, and Elijah said unto her, fear not, and do as thou hast said, but make me thereof a little cake first, and bring it unto me, and after make for thee and thy son. It says, for thus says the Lord Yahweh of Israel, the barrel of meal shall not waste, neither shall the cruse of oil fail, until the day that the Lord sendeth rain upon the earth. So, you know, that was that confidence booster. because he was a man of the Lord. He was sure that, and the Lord was dealing with him. So they gave him hope, gave her hope. And she went and did according to the saying of Elijah, and she did, and he and her house did eat many days. So there you go. A man of the Lord sustained her. And at that time, she didn't have no choice but to believe in the words she was saying, because in her mindset, she was like, look, we just going to die and give up the spirit, man. Let somebody come and save us. And then the Lord, he set it up perfectly. He sent her to him, or he sent him to her. And, it was a union here, because look, it says that they did eat many days, and the barrel of meal wasted not. Neither did the cruse of oil fail, according to the word of the Lord, which he spake by Elijah. So the men of the Lord, we're going to speak things into existence too, like we've been doing. It says, and it came to pass after these things that the son of the woman of the mistress of the house fell sick, and his sickness was so sore that there was no breath left in him. And she said unto Elijah, what have I to do with thee, O thou man of the Most High? Art thou coming to me to call my sin to remembrance and to slay my son? So she started bugging out. And he said unto her, give me thy son. And he took him out of her bosom and carried him up into a loft where he abode, and laid him upon his own bed. And he cried unto Yahweh and said, O Yahweh, my power, thou hast also brought evil upon the widow with whom I sojourned by slaying our son. And he stretched himself upon the child 3 times and cried unto the Lord and said, O Yahweh, my power, I pray thee, let this child's soul come into him again. And the Lord heard the voice of Elijah, and the soul of the child came into him, and he revived. And Elijah took the child and brought him down out of the chamber into the house, and delivered him unto his mother. And Elijah said, see, thy son liveth. It says, and the woman said unto Elijah, now by this I know thou art a man of the Most High, and that the word of the Lord is in thy mouth is true. So, she doubted him, of course. And she's like, okay, well, he gave us the food, we ate, cool. Now his son died, another tragedy. Now she started to bug out. So basically, he had to go before the Lord to petition the soul or the Most High to put the spirit back in her son. And it's gonna be like that, man, because a lot of our women now, they don't really believe they hear it said, but they don't really comprehend what that means. Okay, you're a man of God, okay, but you're still like any mortal man. You still die, you get sick, you get worried, you get scared, you cry, you shit, you piss, and you die like a regular man. But right now, they're not seeing the power of the Lord because the society is still intact. But as the shit goes down and things happen, they're going to start to see the power that the Lord is going to manifest between us. That's why the scripture said, in the day of thy power, thy people should be willing. Okay, so when this shit crashes down and you got a family with you, and then you start doing miracles and raising the dead and turning water into wine, you dividing the load of fish to feed them, man, that's when she's really going to be like, oh shit, this really was a prophet of the Lord. And she's going to get in line like that, man. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to be like that for a lot of brothers, man. Just have that faith and confidence. Because remember, 1 Kings 18, it says, and it came to pass after many days that the word of the Lord came to Elijah in the 3rd year, saying, go, show thyself unto Ahab, and I will send rain upon the earth. And Elijah went and shewed himself unto Ahab. And there was a sore famine in Samaria. And Ahab called Obadiah, which was the governor of his house. Now Obadiah feared the Lord greatly. For it was so, when Jezebel cut off the prophets of the Lord, that Obadiah took 100 prophets and hid them in the caves by 50 and fed them with bread and water. Okay. And Ahab said unto Obadiah, go into the land, into all the fountains of water, into all the brooks. Peradventure we may find grass to save the horses and the mules alive, that we lose not all the beasts. So they divided the land between them to pass throughout it. And Ahab went one way by himself, and Obadiah went another way by himself. And Obadiah was in the way. Behold, Elijah met him, and he knew him and fell on his face and said, art thou that my Lord Elijah? And he answered him and said, I am. Go and tell thy Lord, behold, Elijah is here, man. Okay. But see, the Lord, he had a way of feeding him, man. Okay. Because, it wasn't Elijah, it was Obadiah. I meant to say Obadiah because he hit him by 50s. But it says, was it not my Lord that when that what I did when Jezebel slew the prophets of the Lord, how I hid 100 men of the Lord's prophets by 50 in the caves and fed them with bread and water? So that was just the point I wanted to make, that we're going to have a way to eat out here, man. We ain't just going to be left high and dry as it is going to appear to be. Okay, it's going to look grim, but hey, how about Shimmy Hawashai? He got us, brothers, man. Just keep the faith. Okay, because this chapter subcaption is security of those who trust in the Lord and insecurity of the wicked. So the security, that's the whole point. You think of security, you think of being safe. So if you trust in Yahweh Shimmy Hawashai, What else can go wrong? You know, Psalms 37, and I'm gonna start at verses 17. It says, "For the arms of the wicked should be broken, but the Lord upholdeth the righteous. For the Lord knoweth the days of the upright, and their inheritance should be forever." It says, "They should not be ashamed in the evil time, which is Jacob's trouble, and at the time of famine they should be satisfied." So there you go. We gonna be cool. "But the wicked should perish, and the enemies of the Lord should be as the fat of lambs. They should consume, and to smoke they should be consumed." No way you're gonna be a sacrifice, man. Okay, but it says in famine we're gonna be satisfied. So we're gonna have food, we're gonna have drink. Okay, we're gonna have ways to navigate, we're gonna have ways to bathe. Okay, we're gonna have ways to sleep in peace. You just gotta believe it. How? I don't know, but you just gotta believe it, man. Okay, just believe it and know what the Lord said. He said he's gonna do what he said he's gonna do. So hey, don't worry about it, brothers. Let the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai do what he gonna do. And if you believe that, then hey, you ain't got shit to worry about. Now, naturally the flesh will worry, but overall, the Lord feeds you, then it's like, all right, what you tripping for? Just have faith and continue to push. All right, because check this out. This is the book of Job 5, and I'm gonna start at verses 19. It says, "He shall deliver thee in 6 troubles, yea, in 7 there shall no evil touch thee." Okay. It says, "Thou shalt be hid from the scourge of the tongue, neither shalt thou be afraid of destruction when it cometh. And at destruction and famine thou shalt laugh, and neither shalt thou be afraid of the beasts of the field. For thou shalt be in league with the stones of the field, and the beasts of the field shall be at peace with thee. And thou shalt know that thy tabernacle should be in peace, and thou shalt visit thy habitations that shall not sin." So that's the point, man. So Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai is going to sustain us, brother. So just keep that in mind. But anyway, I'm going to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. And with that, shalom and a ball.